The Corvathian Dominion had ruled the Scorpius Arm for 3,000 years. Their empire stretched across 200 star systems, built on a foundation of fear and absolute military superiority. No species had ever challenged them. No species had ever dared. Until the humans arrived. High War Master Kaeldar sat upon his command throne aboard the dreadnought Eternal Wrath, reviewing the intelligence reports with growing irritation. The humans, these soft, pink creatures from a yellow star, had established a colony on Theta 7, a world that fell within Dominion space by ancient treaty rights. They simply settled there? Kaeldar growled, his mandibles clicking in disbelief. Did they not receive our warning beacons? Did they not detect our patrol routes? His intelligence officer, a smaller Corvathian named Vesh, shifted nervously. They received them, War Master. We have intercepted their communications. They acknowledged our warnings, reviewed our territorial claims, and then. He paused, as if unable to believe his own words. They filed a formal dispute citing outdated colonial law and continued their colonization efforts. Kaeldar's 4 eyes widened. In 3 millennia, no species had ever disputed Dominion claims. They either complied immediately or faced obliteration. There was no third option. Send the standard enforcement fleet, Kaeldar ordered. 50 warships should suffice. Give them one final warning, then reduce their colony to ash. We will make an example that the galaxy won't forget. The enforcement fleet arrived at Theta 7 3 solar days later, their ships materializing from hyperspace in a perfect intimidation formation. Fleet Commander Thros had performed this duty 17 times before. It always ended the same way: the trespassers would see the overwhelming force arrayed against them, panic, and evacuate within hours. But as his sensors painted a picture of the human colony, Thros felt his confidence waver. The humans had fortified extensively. Orbital defense platforms ringed the planet, at least 40 of them, each bristling with weapons. The colony itself was protected by a theater shield generator powerful enough to withstand sustained bombardment. And positioned between the fleet and the planet were 12 human warships, smaller than Dominion vessels but built with an aggressive, utilitarian design that spoke of purpose over aesthetics. Open a channel, Thros commanded. A human male appeared on screen, wearing a simple military uniform. His face was weathered, scarred, and completely devoid of fear. The nameplate read, Colonel Marcus Webb, Terran Colonial Defense Force. This is Fleet Commander Thros of the Corvathian Dominion, he began, using his most intimidating tone. You are in violation of Dominion space. You have 1 standard hour to evacuate, or we will remove you by force. This is your only warning. Colonel Webb didn't even blink. He took a sip from a cup of something steaming, then set it down deliberately. Commander Thros, I'm Colonel Webb. We've reviewed your territorial claims. They're based on a treaty signed 3,000 years ago with the Velan Confederacy, a government that hasn't existed for 2 millennia. Under Galactic Settlement Law, subsection 47, paragraph 12, such claims are voided after 1,000 years of non-enforcement. This planet was uninhabited and unclaimed when we arrived. It's ours. Thros felt his blood heating. You dare cite laws to the Dominion? We are the law in this sector. No, Webb replied calmly, you're bullies who've had your way because nobody's called your bluff before. We're calling it now. The channel went silent. Across 50 Dominion warships, commanders stared at their screens in shock. No one spoke to the Dominion this way. No one. They've just committed suicide, Thros whispered. Then, louder, all ships, weapons free. Destroy them. The Dominion fleet opened fire, a devastating barrage that should have overwhelmed the human defenses in seconds. But the humans were ready. Their point defense systems lit up space with tracer fire, intercepting missiles and deflecting energy beams. Their warships didn't retreat, they advanced, moving with a coordinated precision that spoke of extensive combat experience. And when they returned fire, their weapons hit with brutal efficiency. Thros watched in horror as two of his destroyers simply ceased to exist, torn apart by kinetic penetrators traveling at relativistic speeds. A cruiser's shields collapsed under sustained railgun fire, its hull breached in 17 places. How? Thros breathed. How are they this effective? His tactical officer's voice shook. Commander, I'm analyzing their combat patterns. They're not fighting like a species defending their first colony. They're fighting like veterans. Like they've done this 1,000 times before. On Theta 7's surface, Colonel Webb watched the battle unfold on tactical displays. His executive officer, Major Chen, stood beside him. They're breaking formation, Chen reported. 3 ships are attempting to retreat. Webb nodded grimly. They've never fought anyone who fights back. Their entire empire is built on intimidation, not actual combat capability. He opened a channel to the Dominion fleet. Commander Thros, you've lost 5 ships and we haven't taken a scratch. You can lose more, or you can withdraw and we'll discuss this diplomatically. Your choice. Thros stared at the tactical display, watching his supposedly invincible fleet being dismantled by a force 1/5 its size. His mandibles trembled with an emotion he'd never experienced in combat before, fear. All ships, he whispered, withdraw to hyperspace jump distance. The Dominion fleet retreated, leaving wreckage and shattered pride in their wake. When High War Master Kaeldar received the report, he sat in stunned silence for a full minute. Then he accessed humanity's public data archives, something he should have done before sending ships. What he found terrified him. Humanity had only achieved interstellar travel 60 years ago. But in that brief time, they'd fought 3 wars with each other, conflicts that made Dominion battles look like minor skirmishes. The last human war had involved weapons capable of cracking planets, and they'd pulled back from the brink only through sheer willpower. These weren't naive newcomers to the galactic stage. These were warriors who had honed their craft fighting the most dangerous opponent they'd ever faced, themselves. Kaeldar immediately ordered his diplomatic corps to negotiate. Within a month, the Dominion recognized human sovereignty over Theta, 7 and 17 other disputed systems. The treaty was signed as an agreement between equals, the first such treaty the Dominion had ever signed. Across the Scorpius Arm, other species watched in amazement. The humans had crossed into the Dominion space, been threatened with annihilation, and hadn't flinched. They'd stood their ground, fought brilliantly, and forced the galaxy's greatest military power to back down. Colonel Webb stood on Theta 7's surface, watching the colony's first harvest being brought in. Major Chen joined him. The Dominion's reputation is shattered, she said. 6 species are already disputing their territorial claims. Webb nodded. Good. The galaxy needed someone to prove that bullies bleed just like everyone else. He smiled slightly. Besides, we didn't come out here to start fights. We came to build homes. But if someone tries to take those homes... He let the sentence hang. Major Chen finished it for him. They'll learn why humans don't flinch. In the darkness between stars, humanity's reputation grew. Not as conquerors or tyrants, but as something perhaps more frightening, a species that would stand against any threat, face any odds, and never, ever back down when defending what was theirs. The Dominion had learned that lesson the hard way. The rest of the galaxy took note.